Located along the scenic Greenville Creek in Darke County, Ohio, Bear's Mill has been standing tall since 1849. Bought in 1847, Gabriel Bear built the massive 4-story timber frame building and began production 2 years later. Darke County is too flat for an external water wheel, so this mill is powered with underwater Leffel turbines. This 800-foot-long mill race is 10 feet deep and 25 feet wide. It was dug by hand in 1847 by school children who earned the staggering sum of 50 cents per day. The mill race has a stone-lined bed with a fall of 7 feet starting back at the 10-foot-high dam. The water-powered turbines located under the mill sometimes need to be repaired. To accomplish this, the gates in the dam must be closed and the mill race drained. The 2 horizontal cast iron turbines, dating from 1862 and 1870, operate 9 feet below the water level. They rest on a concrete floor that has a hole under each one. As the pressure of the water bears down upon them, they turn and the water is expelled through the bottom and out through the tail end of the mill race. The smaller turbine produces 23 horsepower and is used to turn the burr stones for milling. The large turbine can produce 33 horsepower and was used to power everything else in the mill, from hoisting sacks to cleaning grain and transporting it through the elevators. Let's take a look at how it worked back in 1849. First, the farmer would arrive with a wagon full of grain and park it in front of the first floor door. Sacks of grain were lifted to the 4th floor using the pulley and winch system overhead. When the smaller rope by the door is pulled, gears on the winch mesh and the sacks are lifted. While it can be risky reaching out the door for the grain, it's much easier than carrying those heavy bags up 3 flights of stairs. Once the grain is on the 4th floor, it's put down a hole in the floor to a storage bin. An elevator leg, that's the long, thin, square wooden tubes you see all over the mill, will lift the grain to the first cleaning machine. Inside all the legs of the mill is a system of cups and belts, which convey the grain to its next step in the milling process. The grain goes down and up 5 times through the elevator legs as it travels from one cleaning machine to another. As the grain passes over the screens with various size holes, the shaking action causes the smaller pieces of grain to fall through the screen and down to a storage bin on the 1st floor. Grain in the 1st floor storage bin is switched to another leg, which carries the grain via its cups and belts to the 2nd cleaning machine, removing even finer debris. From here, the grain is scoured. Then it drops back down to the 1st floor, before it is lifted once more to the 4th floor. This time it will go to the aspirator, which blows out whatever dust and dirt might still remain on the grain. Then it's transported through the 1st floor to a storage bin on the 3rd floor. This is a gravity-fed mill. That means the whole process begins on the 4th floor, where the grain is cleaned. It is then stored on the 3rd floor, stone ground on the 2nd floor, and bagged on the 1st floor. The bins around the 3rd floor store corn, wheat, and buckwheat, waiting for a trip to the burr stones to be ground. The 3 sets of French burr stones are where the grinding occurred. These are the original stones imported by Gabriel Bear in 1848. Mr. Bear traveled to France to get the stones, a trip that took 2 years. French burr stones were known for their porous and abrasive quality. Also, they did not wear out as quickly as the local granite. Therefore, the stones did not need to be resurfaced as often. Each set of stones, you'll see 3 sets here, cost $6,000 in 1848. In today's market, that would be equivalent to over $200,000. The top stone turns, while the bottom one stays stationary. The grain is fed at a controlled rate from the storage bins above to the wooden hopper. It is channeled through the center of the top stone to the space in between the 2 stones. Centrifugal force drives it to the outer edge. As it travels from the center to the outer edge, it is crushed. A little paddle on the edge of the turning stone gathers the flour, and it is channeled to a chute that goes to the bagger on the first floor. The type of flour that is milled at Bear's Mill is coarser than the modern flour we find on the grocery store shelves. These roller mills were the next progressive step in milling after stone grinding. They were put into operation in this country as early as 1876. The grinding or crushing is done between a series of metal rollers. This method produces a more finely ground flour that has become more popular. The action of the metal rollers, however, produces heat, which destroys many of the natural nutrients in the grain. We know today that the stone-ground coarser products are actually healthier for us. As the roller mills became more popular in the 1800s, many stone millers didn't think they could compete with this modern method, so they set fire to their mills, collected the $500 insurance, and got into another line of work. Bear's Mill is fortunate to have the original stones, even after the roller mills were installed. On the first floor is where the flour will be bagged and sold. Here you can see the turbine shafts with gears and cauls. The shafts transfer the power from the turbines into the mill. The nearest turbine turns the burr stones for milling. The furthest one runs the line shaft. The huge belt that is attached to the line shaft makes too sharp a turn for metal clips to work, so the two ends are laced together with leather. Attached to that line shaft is a series of belts that run the elevators, as well as the belts that go all the way to the fourth floor for the cleaning equipment and lift. The line shaft can also power a 110-volt DC generator for auxiliary power and lights. At one time, it ran all the roller mills on the second floor. Even though technology has evolved, Bear's Mill still stands strong as a testament to the build quality and ingenuity of a simpler time. Today, the first floor welcomes guests, offers them a chance to step into the past, and take a little bit with them as they return home.